Behind the Built Environment, the podcast from BESA, the UK's leading trade body for the building engineering services sector.
Hello, I'm David Frise, Chief Executive of BESA. Welcome to Behind the Built Environment, the podcast where I delve into the major issues facing our industry through in-depth conversations with key industry leaders. Join us as we explore the trends, challenges and innovations shaping the future of the built environment. And today I'm delighted to welcome Mark Robinson, Chief Executive of SCAPE. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Mark has led SCAPE since 2009, growing it into one of the UK's most influential public sector procurement authorities, delivering exceptional social value, sustainability and efficiency across the built environment. Beyond SCAPE, Mark is a board member of Build UK, sits on the board of the UK Green Building Council, and serves as co-chair of the Construction Leadership Council's Building and Places workstream, where he champions investment in infrastructure, buildings and regeneration to better serve communities. With a deep passion for driving innovation, sustainability and social impact, Mark brings a unique perspective on the challenges and opportunities facing our industry today. So as again, welcome.
Thank you. Do you want a job in my PR department? That sounds better than what it usually is. That was brilliant. Thank you, David.
There we go. As you know, we like to kick off with 5 quick-fire yes-nos, which kind of set the agenda, tell the audience what we're going to be talking about. So it's yes-no, please, to each of these. Do you think public sector procurement is more innovative today than it was 5 years ago?
No.
That's quite definite. Do you believe public sector procurement frameworks can genuinely drive social value, not just tick boxes?
Absolutely.
That's a yes.
A yes.
Is the UK construction industry currently doing enough to close the skills gap for future workforce needs?
No.
Have SCAPE's frameworks help public clients achieve net zero goals more effectively than traditional procurement routes?
Yes.
Could better collaboration between public and private sectors transform outcomes for communities?
Yes.
Great. Well, that's the most definitive answers we've had so far. I think in the yes-nos, I'm looking at Jack, who's our producer. He's nodding. So, as we also said, we also then like to say, well, how did you get here? Did you choose the career or did the career choose you? You started as a YTS apprentice, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So in Sheffield, I grew up in Sheffield, which I'm really proud of. Sheffield lad, Yorkshireman. And I decided when I was leaving school what I wanted to do. Probably didn't do as well as I could have done academically in school, so my choices were limited. I had a fascination around building. Where do these wires go? What happens when you flush a toilet? You know, things at a young age that you do. So I had a fascination around buildings and construction, and it seemed that seemed to be a decent career choice for me. So I decided that was the one for me. And so it was a bit of both. It was something that I was very interested in, and also recognised that I weren't going to university and doing different things. So there were limited choices for me.
I feel compelled to ask, from Sheffield, United or Wednesday?
I'm a Wednesday fan.
Oh, that's a whole different podcast then.
And it's we could spend 45 minutes on Sheffield Wednesday. But I've got a family, and my son, who's 19, is a season ticket holder for Sheffield United. So I didn't really do a good job as a Sheffield Wednesday fan.
Technically, I think that's against the law, allowing your son to do that. But
I know.
For listeners who may not know who SCAPE are, could you explain what it does for the built environment and public sector?
Well, we're a public sector-owned organisation, but I call us an efficiency organisation. We're probably best known for as a procurement arrangement, a strategic procurement arrangement. So for people that don't know, there's these arrangements are called frameworks. So some people know about frameworks, some people don't, but they're basically long-term procurement arrangements that the public sector organisations can call off and take advantage of. So we're a bit like a construction supermarket. We buy in bulk, and the public sector organisations come along with the trolleys and take off if they want a school or a prison or some other buildings. We also do joint ventures with public sector clients. So if for whatever reason they want to look at a different way to delivering their property teams or regeneration teams, then we sort of help them with that, and we work in partnership with them through joint ventures as well. We've also got a couple of design practices across the group as well. So we do a variety of different things. We recently made an acquisition a few years ago, and we bought an IT platform, which is called the Construction Waste Portal. And that is really around our commitment to sustainability, because I think construction has got an obligation to try and be as sustainable as possible. So that's basically the group.
So clients can use you to a limited degree or to a much bigger degree on the development of projects. That's basically it.
So again, it can be on a project by project basis, it can be on a program basis, or it can be on a longer term partnership arrangement with a sort of exclusivity type of arrangement through a joint venture.
And so what does success look like for you and for your partners in this arrangement?
What, in terms of SCAPE? And what we
if things
want
work,
to deliver.
right, what is it? What does that
Well,
mean?
I mean, it's really about making the public sector more efficient in terms of the money that they've got and the investment that they want to make. I think it's our money at the end of the day. It's taxpayers' money. And I've been in the public sector for 35 years, and we were taught is every penny counts. And we've got to be as rigorous and as efficient with that taxpayers' money as possible. Sometimes we don't achieve that. Again, the public sector and government in some cases in the past have not been as efficient perhaps as what they could have been with some of that investment. So I sort of say I'm passionate about smarter procurement. That's probably my main passion. There's other things I'm passionate about, but that's my main passion. And I think that the government spends 350 billion in a year on public sector procurement. If they did that just 1% better, how much more money would we have?
So which bits do you think work really well, and where would you say there's room for improvement in that process?
I mean, in relation to the built environment, because obviously the public sector buys loads of third-party goods and services across all different departments. But in terms of the built environment, I think it can be better in terms of working more closely together with the private sector and be more collaborative. And again, going back, I'm showing my age with the Latham and Egan principles around having an integrated team. And that's what SCAPE's set up to do. We're trying to make clients get closer to the private sector partners, work together as a team to achieve them organisational or project objectives.
You were mentioning before we came on air, I should have been recording it then, but actually like early contractor impact on projects and early involvement. Do you see the benefits of that?
Yeah, we see it on a day-to-day basis. I think that, again, it's okay having a traditional approach to procurement and delivery of construction projects, for example. But if you can get the supply chain on board earlier, particularly the delivery partners, the design team settled and all working together as a team at the earliest opportunity, you've got less chance of problems occurring, particularly when you're on site, when it becomes expensive and time consuming. If you try and sort out the majority of problems at the earliest opportunity, that will pay dividends in terms of projects that have been delivered. We deliver thousands and thousands of projects over the years. We have anything up to 600 projects on site at any one time. They're not all perfect. In fact, none of them are perfect, to be perfectly honest. There are always going to be issues with them, but they're minimised because we try and spend time with clients to make sure they get the brief right and make sure they get the right team in place to help them deliver.
I presume that's because they're all prototypes, so no, they're not replicated.
There is some. We've done stuff in past where we've done standardisation of schools, for example. We've built 25 schools at the same designs, so it's not unheard of, but it's very a niche market that in terms of the overall construction. You know what it's like. Every building's different, unfortunately. I can't quite get the clients yet to agree to build a school in a particular way, or build a house in a particular way, or build a community centre in a particular way, a hospital, a prison. I think the prisons are getting there with some of the prisons programmes. But again, depends on the location, you know what I mean, the planning issues, what the clients want ultimately in that sort of project.
So if you had a magic wand and you didn't have to worry about government and planning, is there something you would do that would massively improve productivity and massively improve the quality of the buildings that we produce at the moment?
Yeah, and I think that, again, simplifying stuff around things like contract types, for example. Yeah, there's issues around design and standardising design, but just generally having some consistency and standardisation across the industry would be a huge benefit. So again, if I had a magic wand, I'd make everybody commission in the same way. I'd make everybody want a building that looks, or as the bones of the same structure of the same building, and they can cosmetically change stuff on the outside of stuff, and personalize it. That's fine. But if we can have some standardization of how things are built, it'd be much easier for the industry, wouldn't it?
I've never quite understood, why would a school be different in Swindon to Barnsley, say, or Swindon to Swinton?
No, and we proved the concept some years ago, but it's like I just think that for whatever reason, clients, and again, it's about how they commission it and who has control over that commissioning function is paramount of importance, because they will choose what they particularly want for their own purposes rather than the bigger picture. And we need somebody to help and support clients in terms of having that consistency.
Yeah, that must be really frustrating though, because largely it's the stuff you don't know, and particularly as a client, that catches you out. Here you are as SCAPE, you see thousands of projects every year, so you kind of know the things that they don't know. And then you still have somebody saying, no, I want to do it this way. Things like commissioning programs, again, why would they be different?
And again, it's going back to that basic principle of what do they want to get out of it. I'm industry chair, one of the industry chairs for CLC, and part of what I'm trying to do in terms of clients is try and standardise that around commissioning, making sure that they've got real good tools and techniques when they commission and procure stuff, so they've got an understanding of what they need to do step by step. Perhaps get some consistency in there if we can. It's very difficult because all clients are different, and we recognise that. I mean, SCAPE alone's got 1,200 different clients on its books, so they all operate differently. And even if you take one sector, say for instance local government, you think, well, all councils do the same services, so therefore they should be able to do it similar. Well, no, they're all different. Out of the 400 local councils across England, they all do it differently.
Can we talk a bit about governance? So under your leadership, SCAPE has evolved into a group with multiple subsidiaries. So how did you balance innovation, risk and governance to manage that complexity?
Now, I decided in 2015, 10 years ago, to move to a group structure. And that were really around trying to get them businesses to grow and having the flexibility to grow and develop and giving them room to actually be innovative and take risks and move it forward, rather than it being in one big group. So we decided to move to a group structure, which I think's worked really well. I mean, the group turnover is going to probably hit around 100 million this year. So we're doing really well as a group. But it's like that group structure enabled that to happen. Whereas if we were just one organisation, I think it would have restricted it, and they'd have been bumping into one another and not having that much freedom and flexibility to enable them to go off and do their own things. We still have core things like central services to support and corporate services and stuff like that's consistent across the group. But they have their own business plans, they have their own visions and stuff like that for their particular business units. But there is an overarching group structure there that helps and support them as an umbrella to make sure that we are all moving forward together and helping each other out as well.
And is that something that you'll continue to encourage, so even more diversification or moving?
Maybe, yeah. I think particularly on the joint venture side, some of our shareholders and clients are looking at, well, they're really successfully doing this particular joint venture. Why don't we have something similar? And they're never going to be the same. You can't replicate it, but you can do something similar for clients, and that's something that we may well do. And as ever increasing portfolio of frameworks means that we're diversifying that and getting more broader appeal for us clients, because they like the way that they operate, how we set things up. We try and keep it as simple as possible for them. So again, there's no reason why we can't expand that.
Can we talk a bit about social value now? So you SCAPE champions social value. Does that really work? And are there any examples of it working?
Yeah, I mean, when they introduced the Social Value Act, again, we were one of the early adopters a long time ago, and we immediately integrated into our frameworks before we needed to, or there were advice about doing it. We did it, and that enabled us to get that track record of achievement. And we produce an annual report every year about all the projects that have been delivered and what social value is, with case studies in there, and it's a fairly rich amount of knowledge and data that enables clients to really understand the investment that goes into them particular projects and them communities that sort of gets impacted by that. And we truly believe that the industry as a whole, with the amount of investment, that whether it's in infrastructure or construction or in consultancy or whatever it is, we can have a real impact on them local communities. And we can demonstrate that. And we've got 10 years of track record of doing that. So I think it really is a positive thing. And plus, the people love it because you can actually give them some evidence, particularly the politicians in that area love it because they think, oh, I've spent £20 million on a school. What community legacy have I got? And we could demonstrate that.
And I guess the same with decarbonisation and net zero. Is that's something you've focused on heavily? Is that still something that's being actively promoted, or are you seeing people take the?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because the political landscape's changing with that, whether that's globally or nationally. So Trump's, I don't think, the biggest fan. Climate change or net zero. And again, reform, you could argue, again, challenge that as well. So I think you've got to take that into consideration. But I think, like I said before, we've got an obligation as an industry here. We are not the cleanest industry in the world. We use a lot of concrete, we use a lot of steel. Again, it's as construction methods means that we produce a lot of construction waste, hence the reason for the construction waste portal that helps manage and predict waste. So we could be so much better at these sorts of things. And I think we've got an obligation to do it. And for me, it should be business as usual. So it shouldn't be a bolt-on. It shouldn't be an extra. It shouldn't be a choice for a client in some ways. It should be under the radar. We're just doing it and let them get on. So our frameworks have got that capability to do it. Some utilise it, clients, some don't utilise it. It's very difficult sometimes for clients because they have budget pressures or time pressures or political pressures that they've got to maintain. So again, sometimes they don't always take that option up, but I wish every client did.
You don't see it being reframed as energy security?
No, well, you could claim, I mean, this phrases like carbon neutrality. I'm trying to think what others see on now. They're trying to step away from net zero, I think, or climate change. Them sort of terminology now is something that's less used.
Quite ironic as we're in the midst of the fourth heat wave of the year that we don't want to discuss.
You don't want to talk about
crisis.
floods or heat waves, do you? Because
No.
Again, it is an emotive subject. I'm also a board director and trustee of UK Green Building Council.
Yeah.
So it is a passion of mine, and it's a recent passion of mine. I've not been doing it for 20 years. This has been last probably 5 years or something, and it's been a concern around how can we sort of protect our planet and our way of life, because at some point it's going to get worse. And there's arguments for both sides. Is it man-made? Is it a natural occurrence and all that sort of stuff? And I'm no expert on this by any stretch of imagination. I just know construction can do things a bit cleaner and a bit better. And sustainability doesn't cost anything extra if you build it in at the earliest opportunity.
The biggest energy saving is the energy you never use, rather than worrying about renewables to a degree. So energy efficiency is a big thing, I think. Also, one of the other big wastes in our industry is productivity. Shockingly bad productivity. Is that something you see?
We obviously work with our delivery partners in terms of delivering projects. We don't directly project manage projects, so we don't have an influence on what supply chain they use, how that supply chain is deployed, how efficient that supply chain is. But we see a lot of that, and we work with companies that can help, particularly around data and technology, around how they can help, supply chain be more efficient. So, for example, you can measure productivity on site using AI and Bluetooth technology. And again, the latest research that operatives generally around 40% productive on site. And that's not a reflection on their individuals. That's because they're either waiting for materials or they're waiting for other trades or whatever it is. The sequencing is not quite right. So they're not actually being as productive as what they can be on site. So there's things like that. Then there's other productivities around how you buy stuff across the supply chain. So I'm working with another company that does digital procurement around the supply chain, from tier one contractors all the way through the supply chain. And if we can digitize that and get it in one place, there's a lot of efficiencies there that could be made, and probably better pricing.
Which is a perfect segue into AI. What do you see the impact of AI on the construction industry and the built environment at large?
Yeah, I think there's some definite benefits there. And I think how we implement that as an industry is something that, again, I struggle with, because we're not great at managing change as an industry. We're still fairly a traditional industry, but artificial intelligence is something that we're definitely interested in our organisation, and I know our partners are, and we're starting to scratch the surface of what artificial intelligence could do and help in terms of the built environment. I'm sure there'll be things that we won't even thought about. It will have a massive impact at some point in the future. But I think there's definitely a role to play in that. But again, that's in conjunction with it's a people business at the end of the day. You're never going to deliver a project through an artificial intelligence system or platform. There's got to be some people influence there, and I think that'll never change with the industry. But I think we should harness the tools and techniques that we've got available to us and embrace change. I don't think a lot of time we struggle with changing the industry and moving the industry on.
And it's not the people who install pipes and wires who are going to struggle with AI taking their jobs. You'll always be installing that.
Well, I'm a carpenter and joiner by trade, so I don't think I'll ever get an artificial intelligence system to hang a door. There's something about hanging a door that I'm not sure that
not in an old manor house where the floors.
Well, you need to look at it, and get a plane out and stuff like that. But anyway,
that's the one. So you're in this kind of quasi public-private sort of crossover between the two. And you've encouraged, I think, we'll describe SCAPE as philanthropic and commercial, and encouraging public services to think more like businesses. How do you keep that going internally? Do they think of themselves as a commercial business or a public sector business?
I mean, it's always there as a contentious issue internally, because I've got people from the private sector that work for SCAPE, I've got people in the public sector that work for SCAPE, and I've only ever worked in the public sector. But I do, through my career, I have worked for some, and I've done roles that have been very commercial. So I guess there is a balance there. And I think what people have got to understand is that, again, we have to operate we're a trading organisation. We're public sector owned, but essentially we're a non-for-profit. So if there is any trading surpluses at the end of the year, it goes back into the public purse. So nobody's sat on a beach with a laptop wondering how much money SCAPE's made from, or what the share price is, or whatever like that. It doesn't work like that with us. So everything goes back to our shareholders or the wider public community. So that's really fulfilling as well. There is that commerciality because we don't get any grant funds. We have zero income at 1st of April every year. So we've got to work and deliver services that are attractive for us clients to get that income in, to pay people's wages, and then hopefully at the end of it get a small, modest surplus that we can give back to the public sector.
The construction industry faces a massive workload in the years coming up, and a very diverse workload at that. Both infrastructure, housing, just generally refurbishing all the properties that don't meet the energy standards. What are SCAPE doing to help meet that kind of skills requirement? I hesitate to say skills gap, but what are you doing to encourage people?
Well, as part of our framework arrangements, we make sure that the delivery partners have a commitment to bringing new people into the industry, supporting apprentices, trainees, professional development, and we sort of manage that with our partners. One of the good things about procurement is you're able to lever that best practice because of the buying power, if you like, that you've got. You can influence the industry in doing that. I also think that we want to lead by example. So through our joint venture operations, we have partnerships with universities. We take on apprentices on a regular basis and trainees. And I think that's really important, that you lead by example and you show that actually bringing new people into the industry and growing your own talent is a really sensible way of doing things. And most of our partners, delivery partners, feel like that. I think the government can help a bit more with that. I did ask directly as part of CLC when I was speaking to one, I'll not mention the minister, but I said that, well, when I were a YTS apprentice, I were on £29.50 a week plus £6 bus fares. But anyway, £29.50 a week, of which the government paid my first year's salary plus the next 6 months. So 18 months of my salary were paid for, but I were on a 3-year apprenticeship, 3.5-year apprenticeship. So then the company then picked up my salary 18 months in, if you like. But by then, hopefully, I'll have proved that I'm worth it, I'm worth the investment, and therefore the company can see value in paying for my opportunity. But would companies, particularly small companies, take on apprentices if they knew they had to pay them from day one? Could there be more incentives for companies through government in terms of governments helping them subsidise new entrants into their organisation. And that's just about tradespeople and apprentices, but there's other things like professional resources and careers that you want to encourage. There's got to be ways to get more and more people into the industry.
Yeah, it's a future industry, isn't it? A strategic future industry that people don't kind of see it and realise that that's the case. And the opportunities are diverse, huge. You can join as an apprentice and end up as a chartered engineer or a professional.
And it's a really well-paid industry as well. A lot of people think it's not well-paid, when actually even, you can go on a decent training apprenticeship for 4 years, and then you can go out there in the world, work anywhere in the world, and earn half decent money.
Yeah.
I mean, they earn, even just as a tradesman or as a quantity surveyor or whatever it is, you earn decent money.
You do, and without student debt at the end of it.
Yeah, there you go.
So we both sit on the Build UK board. And how do you think SCAPE benefits from being part of that collective voice?
Yeah, I mean, it's really around collaboration. And I sit on a number of these boards for help feedback to our client groups and our clients around what's happening in the industry. How does that affect our clients? And having that knowledge hub and that collaboration across the industry is really useful for me. And I learn a lot from them groups. I learn a lot from you guys and some of the issues that you're dealing with across the industry. And I take that back and feed that into our clients and into our services that we sort of help and support. And clients come to us for advice on a regular basis. So we're then able to, we're able to take that holistic view of the industry and able to give them hopefully decent advice.
Right, now that I come to the difficult bit for me, and that I've got to try and summarise our discussion. So SCAPE is a framework that anybody can join if they're competent and compliant, presumably.
Yeah, we've got framework arrangements for our public sector clients. We've also got framework arrangements for our private sector clients. So you don't have to be public sector, you can be private sector. Again, the public sector client base is bigger, but I think we've got 70 or 80 private sector clients.
You're a commercial organisation, but always aware and cognizant of your public responsibilities.
Yeah, we operate a commercial business model, but we've got a public sector ethos. So we don't sell stuff. We're there to support us clients, and we want them to feel as though they're getting a really good service. But profit's not our main driver, if you like.
So for the public good.
The surplus are welcome back in the public sector, so they'll take it all day long, won't they?
Yeah.
So again, if we do make it, we're fortunate to make some surpluses, then they will be returned to the public sector. So it is that philanthropic approach around business.
And to drive change in the industry, so things like off-site, innovation, uptake of AI, skills within the industry, net zero, and social value. So all of those good things that we want to see that will improve the industry overall.
Yeah, and I think we do that in a number of in two main ways, really, is around our procurement arrangements can actually, procurement can be a silver bullet to all them problems if you procure it and commission it in the right way. So if we do that right, then we're able to achieve some of that. We won't achieve everything, but we'll achieve some of that, and also leading by example. So some of our joint ventures and design practices do really good stuff, and they are class leading, best in class. And I think if we can demonstrate to clients that this is how you should operate, because look, this is how they're operating, that really gives them encouragement and actually gives them the comfort that we can come to SCAPE and ask for any support and advice.
Final question. Are you an optimist or a pessimist about the future?
Oh, I'm very optimistic. I think the construction industry is a fantastic industry to work in. I think it's got a great future. I know there's going to be ups and downs, but if you look at any industry that people work in, it's not linear. It's not always on an upward, So I think that construction is a fantastic industry to work in. It's only going to get better. The use of technology and things like AI will also improve that. And I think we're lucky that we work in an industry where you can touch and feel what you achieve. That tangible output of something real and physical. And actually, it's not just that, it's the when you walk in that building and you see it being used, and you walk into a school and you see all them smiley faces, they're not just the kids, but the teachers and the cleaners, because they've got a fantastic facility that they work in. And I think that gives you a sense of satisfaction that, some other careers just don't get.
We all love it with our kids in the back seat saying, I did that building with pride. Yeah.
I don't say that. I can't say that, because when you procure it, you don't actually. I mean, I have done project management and delivery in the past, but that was a long time ago. But now it's you just feel really proud that you're part of an industry that can make a notable difference to people's lives.
As we say, 90% of us spend 90% of our time in a building. So it really matters that it works.
Again, just that, making that difference to people's lives, that quality of life, whether it's at work or at home or for leisure or whatever it is. Yeah, it gives you a strong sense of satisfaction. And I really wish more people had come into the industry. I really do.
Well, for a Sheffield Wednesday fan to be an optimist, that's a great thing.
Don't talk about Sheffield Wednesday. You're going to spoil my afternoon.
So, Mark Robinson, Chief Executive of SCAPE, thank you very much for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me, David.
And now time for the podcast news. Late payment and retention reform are under the spotlight again, and BESA is leading the charge. A government consultation is now open for 12 weeks, giving us a powerful chance to influence policy and drive real change. We're calling on all members to get involved through the upcoming focus groups, a short survey, and direct responses via BESA and Actuate UK. We'll even provide a template so you can easily contact the Department for Business and your local MP. And this is your chance to shape the future of fair payments, so don't miss it. BESA members, check your inbox for more information. The wait is over. 2025 BESA Industry Award shortlist has been announced. Did you make the cut? So now's the time to celebrate the best in building engineering services and secure your place at the biggest night of the year. Book your table today and get ready to raise a glass to industry excellence on the 16th of October at the brewery in London. Head to thebesa.com for all the details, and I wish everyone the best of luck. BESA has launched a vital industry consultation to shape the future of competence in ductwork. And again, your input is essential. This is your chance to help define the skill standards that will drive building safety and compliance across the sector. The consultation will inform a brand new competence framework for industrial and commercial ductwork, covering everything from ventilation and fume extract to fire and smoke dampers. It's literally a once-in-a-generation opportunity to set the bar for what good looks like, so don't miss out. The consultation closes on the 29th of August, so head to thebesa.com and make your voice heard today. So thank you for tuning in to Behind the Built Environment. If you enjoyed this episode, like, share and subscribe on your favourite podcast provider. And don't forget, leave us a review. It really helps to reach more people across the industry. For more in-depth conversation with industry leaders and the latest updates from BESA, stay connected and keep listening. And until next time, I'm David Frise, and this has been Behind the Built Environment. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Built Environment podcast from BESA. If you like what you heard today, then please follow and rate us on your favourite podcast app. Come and join us over on LinkedIn, BESA Group, and carry on the conversation. And if you want to find out more about joining the BESA community, then please visit thebesa.com to start your journey with us today.